Chapter 060 Shura Guards. The world lets such a creature exist, it must have its own reason. Perhaps it is to inspire other living beings to grow. Without the pressure of survival, the path of immortality would never have come into being. Legend says that in the most distant primordial era, humans fought against fierce beasts and martial arts were born, fought against heavenly demons, and divine powers were created. Yin chuckled loudly, enough of that talk. Now that you've refreshed your spirit, let's keep moving. Slay more heavenly demons to temper your spirit. All right. Let's go. Fang Han was brimming with confidence. He moved at great speed, weaving through desolate rubble and potholes. The journey did not tire him at all. Stone peaks several times the height of a man, he could leap over in a single bound, crevices dozens of paces wide, he could dash across in one fluid movement. This was his leaping and bounding cultivation art. By now, his jumping power, running speed, explosive force, and endurance far surpassed ordinary people by leaps and bounds. What looked like an insurmountable natural chasm to ordinary men was flat ground to him. He could leap 40 to 50 paces in one go, clear several man heights in a single jump, and keep going without rest, his stamina endless. Running across this uninhabited star gave him a comfortable release of his wild instinct. HM? Why is there wind ahead? I sense huge air currents rolling. Is it a tornado? While running, leaping and moving quickly to train his body, Fang Han scanned his surroundings, even checking the ground for any or treasures, when suddenly the area far ahead seemed to turn dimmed. Storms on outer celestial stars are extremely violent. They can send boulders weighing thousands of Gene rolling across the sky. If you run into one, you just hide in a crevice, Yin said casually, but then he sounded shocked. No. That's not a storm. That's a horde of heavenly demons. Damn it! How can there be so many heavenly demons? Quick! Hide quickly. You cannot fight that many, you will be torn to shreds. There are heavenly demons in that wind? Fang Han was startled. In just the short time they spoke, the wind blowing from afar grew stronger, billowing his ritual robe like a fluttering flag. Sand filled the air, and if he breathed even slightly, his mouth and nose would be full of grit. Most of all, a gloomy stench drifted through the sand, carrying biting cold and a rotten fishy smell. It was definitely the aura of demons, not an ordinary storm. Dust-repelling talisman. A streak of sparkling water mist flashed out, wrapping around his entire body. Immediately, all sand and dust within half a foot of him fell away. This was a talisman distributed by his sect, and Fang Han now appreciated its benefits. Without it, he would have been buried alive by dust. Hurry, conceal your life aura, find a crevice to hide in. You have to get through this horde of heavenly demons. Good grief, there are at least 10,000 of them here. That is enough to attack some small immortal sects. Some small sects only have 1 or 2 experts of the mystic realm of divine power, and the heavenly demons will just devour them whole. Even Yin, the flood dragon, sounded deeply worried. 10,000 heavenly demons were enough to devour even him. Besides the 10 great immortal sects of the immortal Tao, there were many small sects, also founded by experts of the mystic realm of divine power. For example, the young island master of Nevernight Island that Fang Han had killed, his father was the island master, also an expert of the mystic realm of divine power, but his strength was no greater than Xianxia, and the sect was tiny. Basically, after 200 or 300 years, when the island master ran out of lifespan and died, the sect would disappear. Such small sects were called loose cultivator sections. Without a master of the longevity realm to back them, they could never become a great sect. Close pores, conceal aura, reign in spirit, still your primal energy. Fang Han did not dare to be careless at this point. Spotting a large crevice, he immediately darted over, 10 times more agile than an ape. He shrank his body, bounced, scrambled, and with a soft rustle, slipped into the deep crevice like a rat in a puff of smoke. If an ordinary person had seen this, they would have been shocked and called it a giant rat that has cultivated into a spirit. Hiding in the gap between the underground rocks, concealing his form, Fang Han closed all the pores on his body, not letting a single wisp of aura leak out. He adjusted his breathing to be slow and long, faint and almost undetectable, and kept his spirit turned inward, condensing into a bright glowing mass in his mind. This was the result of his recent cultivation. When he closed his pores, not a trace of aura escaped, and he lay in ambush just like a chunk of stone. Even a hound's nose could not pick up his scent. Being undetectable even to a hound's nose was an important milestone for a divine transformation expert in controlling their body. With this locking of chi, heavenly demons would naturally struggle to sense him, allowing him to escape disaster. Above ground, Fang Han could only hear a rumble like rolling thunder, like thousands of troops and horses galloping past. Large stones kept falling from above. Luckily he hid in a sunken deep cave, so the stones could not hit him. If he had to dodge stones, his aura would definitely leak out, and the consequences would be unthinkable. Both he and Yin would be devoured. Logically speaking, the demon battlefield cannot have this many heavenly demons. Otherwise, all the assessing inner disciples would definitely die. Even true disciples would lose a few facing this many. Could something have gone wrong? While lying in ambush, Fang Han thought to himself. A long while later, when he sensed the gloomy wind above gradually faded away, Fang Han finally released his hold on his aura and scurried up the crevice like a centipede, bursting out onto the ground. Sure enough, the desolate ground was a mess. Many large stone peaks had been snapped in half. Suddenly, another wave of Yin energy washed over him. Countless voices, carrying their thoughts, transmitted directly into his head. This time, Lord Nine Sun's demon god broke the immortal restriction of the Yuhua sect, sent Lord Great Mighty Virtue Demon King in. We can finally eat our fill. It has been so long since we had any blood food. Last time at Guishu in the Great Northern Ocean, several Lord Demon Kings joined forces to drain the primordial Yin of a female cultivator. I watched from the side. That was so satisfying. I heard Lord Watergoo Demon King was killed by a female disciple of Yuhua's sect with the surname Fang. She even refined his body. Lord Nine Demon King was suppressed by a demon god. This time Lord Nine Sun's Demon King is here for revenge. Hey! There is someone here. Flesh and blood. Chitter, chitter. Such strong flesh and blood. Who would have thought we came late and missed the main horde, but ran into a Yuhua sect disciple, such a strong one at that. Let's team up and drain him. Right, drain him dry until only a layer of skin is left, then we wear his skin to confuse others. Remaining stray heavenly demons. Fang Han saw more than 10 streams of gloomy wind swirling, pouncing straight at him. He immediately prepared to strike, but hundreds of paces away, the 10-odd gloomy winds suddenly stopped, transforming into more than 10 young women in thin veils, stunningly beautiful and seductive. They danced a tempting dance, sang lewd songs, soft haunting tunes like neglected wives, leaving Fang Han stunned for a moment. Little brother, we are so lonely, come comfort us. The lustful words that came from their throats crashed into one's nerves, enough to turn the hardest giant into soft, pliable passion. You think you can shake my mind with this? Dream on. Fang Han did not even look at the young women, and suddenly struck, slashing several palms consecutively toward the sky above his head, while roaring loudly, heaven and earth spiritual energy, sun and moon spirit. His roar right now could knock a tiger unconscious, bleeding from all 7 orifices. His palm wind paired with his voice was like the thunder god swinging his hammer, like the giant spirit striking the celestial drum, the sound wave rippling for dozens of li. Amid the palm wind and sound wave, 10 shadows appeared above his head, and the shadows were nothing but skeletons. They let out sharp, miserable shrieks, as if they had suffered severe damage. The beautiful young women in the distance vanished like phantoms. It turned out the young women were an illusion cast by the heavenly demons, while they themselves hid in the sky, preparing to dive down and burrow straight into Fang Han's brain. This plan was full of cunning. First it was hiding the real gold behind a false front, then striking east after attacking west. If a man was tempted by the women, they would succeed. If he was not tempted and struck at the illusions, he would only cut thin air, leaving an opening for them to dive down from above and strike a fatal blow. Luckily, Fang Han's spirit had been strengthened and purified once more, able to separate truth from falsehood, and did not let the heavenly demons get their way. Instead, he turned their trap against them, injuring them first. If these heavenly demons had managed to burst into his mind, they might not have been dispersed easily. A single heavenly demon was easy to deal with, but more than 10 entering his body would have been impossible to suppress. Chitter, chitter. The heavenly demons transformed into their ferocious, terrifying skeleton forms, bursting upward toward the sky to escape Fang Han's palm wind and roar, to avoid further injury before falling to the ground. But Fang Han would never let them escape. He curved his hand, pulled the 7 murder gourd from his waist, and billowing heavenly wolf smoke burst into the sky, transforming into countless demon faces that lunged to devour the heavenly demons. Heavenly wolf smoke was an excellent magical treasure, practically a bane to heavenly demons. If one used a flying sword to kill heavenly demons, the effect was poor, only able to wear away a tiny bit of their essence. Because heavenly demons were just a mass of flowing energy, like cutting water with a sword, the water only parts then flows back. Only a pure yang immortal sword at the magical treasure level could cut one down in a single strike. But heavenly wolf smoke could wrap around them directly. The heavenly demons were devoured by the demon faces formed from the smoke, but they did not perish immediately, struggling violently, while Fang Han pulled them in like reeling in a fishing line. The 7 murder gourds shook non-stop from the force of the heavenly demon struggles. When Fang Han reeled them in, it felt like he was fishing for several large sharks. He almost had the gourd torn out of his hands several times. Luckily, his strength was great, and after exerting all his might, he finally pulled the heavenly demons completely into the gourd. Just 14 heavenly demons, and it is this strenuous. If 100 came at me at once, would I not die for it? Fang Han poured the captured demons into the yellow spring map, his chi and blood still rippling. Gahahaha, gahahaha. Yin cackled in delight, and refined each of the captured heavenly demons into jade blue great pills one by one. In the Yellow Spring River, these heavenly demons had no room to act out. I will feed these pills to the flying Xianxias. They will accumulate power to evolve. Fang Han, if we refine 360 more heavenly demons this time, make 360 jade blue pills to feed to the 10 flying Xianxias, they will evolve into Shura. Then we will have 10 Shura guards. 10 flying Xianxias were sealed inside the Yellow Spring map. After Yin refined the pills and fed one to each, the scales on their bodies grew even thicker, wrapping them up like big cocoons, wriggling non-stop. 10 Shura guards. That is incredibly powerful. Fang Han's heart burned with excitement.